In these torturous and troubled times, I'm sharing with you 10 laws for mental health. And now we're on law number 6. You can go back and pick up the other ones, but law number 6 is cultivate contentment. A discontented person is always an unhappy person, always a disturbed person, always an uneasy person. And being discontented can mysticize and just go through your whole system and your whole thinking until you're unhappy with everything, everybody, and yourself. Discontented. But cultivate contentment. It was the Apostle Paul who wrote in his letter to the church at Philippi, in whatsoever state I find myself, chapter 4, it's verse 11, I am content. Content. What was his condition at the time? He's saying, in whatsoever state I find myself, I am content. Why, at that time, he had an iron band around his wrist. And attached to that iron band is a chain. And on the other end of that chain was a Roman imperial guard. For Paul, when he is writing the letter to the church at Philippi, he is under house arrest in the city of Rome. And he's saying, in whatever condition, state I find myself, there I am content. Content under house arrest? Well, that's where he is. So he cannot free himself. But now, however, he does have a choice. And you have a choice too. Whatever situation you're in, whatever mess you're in at the moment, whatever your circumstances are at the moment, you have a choice. You can say, I'm going to be right now content with this, or I'm going to make myself miserable and unhappy. I'm going to gripe and grouse and complain and murmur and cry out and picture myself a victim. Or you can just say, here I am. This is the situation at the moment, and I'll be content. Do you know, in this little short letter to the church at Philippi, 18 times you find the word joy and rejoice. And he's under arrest, a prisoner, joy, rejoice. In fact, the key verse in this is Philippians 4:4. Rejoice. And again, I say unto you, rejoice. And certainly everyone who received that letter, and we who read it now, are not in the sad situation that Paul found himself when he was writing it. And if he could be content and telling us, rejoice in the Lord, and again I say, rejoice, you too can rejoice. You can rejoice in the Lord. You don't need to rejoice in your situation. You don't need to rejoice in the circumstances in which you perhaps unavoidably find yourself, though often we make our own troubles. But now it is, you can have mental health by cultivating contentment.